Yes, this is Chris again from Darkling Radio, and I've got James here as one of our irregular co-hosts. James.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to have to move the microphone around a bit because we don't have a nice setup. And of course, we're at UK Games Expo, and we're following things up with Modiphius, and they have quite a few horror-themed role-play games coming up. Some are brand new, some are new additions, and some are maybe a bit more familiar, but there's some new releases coming up. So,
yeah.
And I'm talking to... I forgot to get your name, and my brain has gone to mush already today.
That's right, mine's the same too. It's Chris.
Chris, okay.
Yeah, so I started Modiphius back in 2013.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not an old company at all. So, you've got properties like Mutant Chronicles, which I think is related to Warzone.
Yes,
you've got
right.
Achtung Cthulhu, which...
World War II horror,
yeah,
Cthulhu.
And that has some crossovers with Dust. I think you've got some.
Yeah, we did a crossover. Yeah, with so Dust meets Cthulhu.
Yeah,
it's
and
cool.
that works well.
Yeah.
And then you've also got coming out the Star Wars RPG.
Star Trek.
Star Wars. Star Trek.
It's okay. I love Star Wars too.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, yeah. There's so many games today, like sci-fi.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Pre-order next week.
And they've got miniatures for that, which are both next gen and original series.
Yeah, original series. Yeah.
Is it going to be kind of the reboot movie series?
No, it's the Kirk. It's
proper
William Shatner.
Shatner Kirk. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after this, so I think the first one that I'm most interested in is Tales from the Loop. So this is tapping into that kind of, I'd say, that 80s kind of Goonies and E.T. and Stranger Things. So can you give a brief overview of what that game is and what's kind of the selling point of the system, maybe, that reinforces the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's all inspired by this famous Swedish artist called Simon Stierlag, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
It's really cool, beautiful 80s style artwork of kids on bikes and giant alien-looking machines rusting away in fields. And so they, inspired by that, they created the Tales from the Loop game, and obviously it's great timing because of Stranger Things being out. And the idea is you play kids on bikes, and there's this big, giant underground loop.
Yeah.
With a government base doing lots of weird experimentation.
So when you say this is it's what they call the old kind of synchrotron, isn't it?
Yeah. And yes, get the science in there.
Yeah, I've got to get the science in there. I don't play with a synchrotron, but some people go off and fire things off from a synchrotron onto materials we make in the lab. So it's kind of cool.
There you go. So there's that, and then there's kind of weird dimensional stuff going on, and also it's a world where they cracked anti-grav technology. So you've got all these like big floating barges. I always look at it as it's a bit like, if you know Chris Foss style artwork, it was like 1970s classic sci-fi. That basically took like Boeing 747. He was I think he was a Boeing artist as well, concept artist. And he took like that kind of very real looking Boeing style shapes and paneling, but made it into sci-fi spaceships. And so what Simon's done is like kind of just giving it this real, there's these machines just floating along, or it's like some weird ball half rusting in a pool of water and some kids like climbing on it. And it's like, it puts them in weird alien stuff in very real environments. Obviously all Sweden, but the book's also you could set it in Boulder, Colorado. And you can, in a lot of their games, it's all about bringing the game to your hometown. Like Mutant Year Zero, it was about that. It was about create this art that you survived in your hometown. Which building would you have survived in?
And in Tales from the Loop, I mean, the main thing is you're playing as a group of teenage kids who stumble upon weird stuff and for whatever reason take it upon themselves to work out why things are going weird.
And they're actually, I mean, they're younger. It's like kind of 8.
Yeah.
10. It's the point when adults kind of alien to you. I mean, in the game, adults don't talk to you. You can't understand what they say. Yeah. They don't understand what you say.
Yeah.
And no matter what if you come out going, Mum, Dad, there's a weird machine that's coming to life and there's aliens coming out, they'd just be like, yeah, okay, yeah, well done, Johnny. Yeah, I'll make dinner for 6. It's like, so it's basically that you've got to get your homework done, and you never die, and and it's all about you. It's all down to you. You've got to cope with the situation.
Excellent. Cool.
And you've got to cope with it within the restrictions of getting your homework done and being home in time for tea. So.
Yeah. So sneaking out past mum and dad to go out at night and explore whatever weird thing it is you found in the sump in the
with
forest.
Have you got enough batteries? And so it's kind of different take on the classic RPG of let's get tooled up, loads of gear and guns and knives and go and lose hit points. And it's.
I think that's why for our regular listeners who are really into like Chronicles of Darkness, where it's like it was immortal. You start with the core game, which is about playing, not even supernatural. You'll play humans.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of everything is freaking scary.
Yeah, I mean it is. That's the point. And he's like, you should be scared shitless with these as these kids. And also, it is kind of horror because you're up against dark forces of humankind, or maybe alien forces as dinosaurs. It's like kind of weird dimensional connections. So it's freaking scary.
So it's really about. Science just goes too far, and it's very hard to even define what is science and you understand the
weird
science.
Super science
at
the fringes, and you're just like stumbling upon what's left over.
Psionics and extra dimensions and
and the game system uses the same game system, which is a dice pool from Mutant Zero, Coriolis, Mutant Gen Lab Alpha, etc. They tweak it for each one, but it's if you know any of those games, then you're
I haven't played so I mean, because like dice pools are classic bread and butter of White Wolf as well. So
it's the basic premise of the system is you get a number of d6s for your skill, a number of d6s for your attributes, and you might get a few extra dice for the piece of gear that you're using, whether it's suitable. And then you're looking for successes, but bad things can happen.
So is it an all-in-one dice roll kind of thing? So it's none of this.
Yeah, you roll
I roll to hit, you roll to dodge.
No,
right, it's just one big roll. Cool.
Yeah.
And then to reinforce, the fact that you're playing these kids up against these big kind of eldritch kind of science gone mad horrors. Is there anything mechanical in there that kind of reinforces that you are just kids dealing with crazy crap, or at least helps reinforce the mood and the tone of the game?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Okay,
that's the honest answer. I've not played it yet, but the reactions have been really, really strong in terms of like how the theme comes across in gameplay. And I'm reading my copy at the moment. In between,
I did see there were like character types from like the strange kid and like the more
and they've
bully or something like that.
They've got the archetypes really spot on. I think there's the goth kid, there's the cute kid, there's the little brother, and
maybe like the nerd or something. There's probably someone.
I think they're all kind of sort of versions of the nerds, but they all kind of fit really well, and they've all got a part to play, and it's very their games. Just the games. This is Free League Publishing who do this from Sweden. They all the games. The characters really easy to put together. It's often like what are you wearing? You tick the box. You're wearing a little leather jacket and a rock band t-shirt. Are you wearing what are your favourite shoes? Like these trainers. What's your favourite bike? And then you tick the box. So it's very quick to create very characterful stuff, and then you work out how you know each other.
Cool. So within the book then, so there's the main setting which is based in Sweden.
And then there's also an alternative version for Boulder, Colorado, which is essentially the same thing. You get a different map, but it's the same story.
Yeah, and obviously like you're dealing with like US kind of CIA or NSA versus like whatever the Swedish equivalent is. Is very different. And again, like if you did a British version, it'd be very
stick it on the Isle of Wight.
Yeah,
that's a nice kind of backwatery like lost
Quatermass.
Quatermass would be great to update to that kind of tone.
Because there was I remember there was the original sort of 50s Quatermass, and then they did like a 70s version.
And you could really mine some classic kind of 80s and 70s Doctor Who for it to get stuff in there. So, I mean that sounds great. I mean, like I need to get a copy to obviously delve into. It's definitely
I know a lot of the guys from my office are actually quite interested in playing it, and I was wondering like a quick start for it would be like is there a quick start?
Well, they did one for Mutant Year Zero. I'm sure they're thinking about doing one for Tales from the Loop as well. So
Okay.
It's probably on the cards.
Excellent.
I don't know for sure, but I would imagine so.
So then, keeping to the theme, keeping to our wonderful theme of horror.
Yeah.
So what's the next one you want to? What's the next other game that's
Well, I
coming
mean,
up next?
the other game the same team have done is Coriolis, which is it's basically Arabian Nights in space, but not the kind of cartoon version. The sort of how you imagine a much darker, sort of richer version of the story, and it's essentially the premise is that there are these sort of three stages of gateways linking humanity together, and in the sort of central area you've got Earth and the other planets, and it's very old and corrupt. And then you get this new way. They find a gateway through to this other new area of space, and then they colonise that, and that becomes corrupt. And there's a third gateway through to this group of worlds, and there's a big war, and the gates all get cut.
Okay. So that's so the gate. So when you say gateway, these are space gates, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they ancient alien type?
Yes, it's sort of gateways that they found, but they get blown up during this war, and the remnants of the sort of overlord, sort of Federation forces, some are trapped there, and a colony ship turns up that's been travelling for like 100 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then everyone's pretty screwed because they've been cut off from all the resources from the inner worlds, and so then the ship turns up with lots of stuff on it, and then so it's this kind of retro engineered society that's regressed because it's being cut off, and then you've got these sort of different power bases. It's very deeply spiritual, religious, and there's a real sort of Eastern flavour to everything, character names, places, the whole works, and there's these real ancient alien sort of secrets permeating the whole storyline, and it's great fun.
And then, I mean, so you've got the religion side of it. So does it have kind of otherworldly entities that verge on, I don't know, demonic or I would say undead kind of tropes? Because these things turn up a lot in sci-fi games. You always got something that's like that. And the interesting thing is, how have they kind of reinterpreted it again in sci-fi?
You haven't really got your kind of classic sort of zombies, things like that. It's more that there's a real mystery without giving too much away. There's a very deep mystery that involves discovering that. There's these vast crumbling bits of ruins floating around in space, and there's a lot of stuff. We're also talking about a long time in the future, so there's a huge amount of history that's gone on before, and a lot of stuff to discover from our own past, let alone where they are. And there's a lot of intrigue, and there's a lot of kind of spaceship duels, and there's a lot of sort of quite arcane ancient factions.
Yeah. It reminds me of how far in the future are we talking with the setting? Is it? Are we talking thousands, or is it tens of thousands?
No, it's
or
not
hundreds of thousands.
No, it's like hundreds of years.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm putting it in terms of like, are we talking far in the future, like Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe kind of level of how far humanity's forgotten science, and it's magic to them?
No, it's still very much science. It's just having been cut off for quite a long time.
They don't know how to make nuclear reactors.
Yes,
kind of deal.
That's the kind of idea. And then of course this floating ship, this big spaceship, colony ship turns up,
and it's
just
toys,
backpack full of gear that was new a few hundred years ago, and and of course they turn up, but it's relatively new now for the survivors of these colonies.
Cool. And then, am I right in thinking then the game has a high focus on majority of human characters? Like aliens are quite rare in the setting.
No, it's all humans.
That's cool. Yeah. So again,
and it's all the factions of humans.
Okay.
There are some alien involvements.
Well, I can see
coming through. So.
From just drawing parallels in games that are out there, I can see some similarities. Like if you like things like 40k, but you don't want it to be so bloody and gruesome and grim dark. You want a bit more hope in it. It sounds more a little bit more upbeat, and the same with Fading Suns. It's a bit like that, but thematically it has different tone, as you say. It has that Eastern, I'd say Arabian Nights kind of feel to it. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, basically, because you've got these icons that are the kind of the gods of the setting, and you might worship a particular icon that affects gameplay.
Right. Okay. So God's actually faith has a real influence in the game,
and you've got basically it's the portals, these sort of dimensional portals that have connected the galaxies. It's the portal builders that you keep discovering ruins for, and they can be very dangerous as well.
It's a bit of classic Stargate kind of. Oh no, we've turned up on the world and we're really not prepared for this stuff.
Yeah, and then there were myths about these emissaries from the portal builders. And then someone turns up.
Brilliant.
So, and there's all this sort of factional infighting that breaks out around someone incredibly powerful and important turning up. It's a very rich, deep setting. If you're interested in that sort of Eastern vibe, then I think it's definitely worth having a look.
Okay. Sounds like that could be quite like if there's quite a lot of friction between beliefs and what people are expecting these things to be and what they actually do. That sounds like it could
and
be
all the
quite
factions. Now they're going to save us. No, it means the end of the world, and what crazy things people do.
Peace among worlds, kind of Rick and Morty joke in there. Okay, that's cool. And then the other main horror game you got coming out is
Cold and Dark.
Yeah,
which it's an RPG that it's very much inspired by Aliens, Dead Space, the video game, stuff like that. So it's very much a sort of on your own in space,
hard sci-fi.
There's no marine. There's no kind of tooled up marines to save you. Very much on your own. And this is we've got this sort of kind of crowdfunding running for a couple of months.
Okay,
it's got a month to go. It's coming out anyway.
Yeah.
If you pre-order, you get sort of cool bonuses, and it's very much it's more that kind of colonial vibe to it. It's the government's been strip mining everything it can get its hands on. It's centuries from now. It's going to quite far in the future with mankind living in the Sirius galaxy.
Okay,
and it's a very dense system of stars. It's very sort of corporate controlled. And it's basically, you're having to face very natural horrors of space as well as unnatural horrors. And because there's a lot of kind of salvaging and mining going on, and they've pretty much dug up something that they should have left buried and forgotten.
Okay, so I would say from what the vibe I'm getting is like compared to the Coriolis, which has that more kind of I want to get that mythic element in it.
Yeah.
This has got it's hard sci-fi, and then
more
something weird happens.
Yeah, this is more like The Expanse.
Yeah.
So it's it starts off
2001: Space Odyssey kind of.
Yeah, and it ends up as kind of Cthulhu in space.
Yes.
Weirdness.
So that's a bit trying there because there's been a few
without
things
giving away
like
too
that.
much.
Yeah, like
what's the one with Riddick and all the things Pitch Black.
Pitch Black is that. And then there's a few games that did stuff kind of similar, kind of like with where you have to deal with it's machine intelligence and grey goop issues. But again, these are all kind of like cool ideas in this day and age with where technology's gone and where science is going and how much you understand. So again, it kind of like it makes my brain go.
In this, you've got this sort of parasitic race called the Ripper race, and they're the greatest threat to life as we know it.
Are they organic or are they techno-organic or are they something completely else?
They're pretty scary though.
Or are they something else?
You get a lot of nanotech.
I can imagine one of the things I saw, I thought of, and it just came back as you've seen the film Spectral with the weird ghosts, which are like made from it's an Einstein it's a Higgs Einstein condensed state. It's a fifth state of matter. But again, it's that kind of like it's ghost, but it's actually rooted weirdly. They're trying to root it in science. So it's like I can appreciate the attempt. It's a bit shoehorned in, but it kind of fits that. So you got these three rather quite cool horror games, all touching on
Yeah.
science horror in a different way.
Yeah.
What's kind of the release cycle then for them? So like Tales from the Loop, we've got the core book
So
out.
Tales from the Loop is out now. There's core book dice and GM screen. Coriolis is out now already. There's already an expansion which unveils some of the secrets of the setting. GM screen, map, card deck, which gives you some extra accessory in play. There's Cold and Dark is going to be shipping in about, let's say, about 2 months' time. And then it's going to be in retail in summer, probably out for Gen Con time, so around August in stores.
Excellent.
So yeah, so that's the first of our. I mean, our Mutant Chronicles had a great slice of horror to it as well. Because whilst it's very, it's like techno punk vibe to it, and it was kind of one of the first diesel punk vibe things here because it's got that 40s technological look to it.
Yeah, it's very Art Deco sci-fi.
Yeah. Good description.
It's
that's
the I think that was the description of Gypsy Danger in Pacific Rim. It's like Art Deco, mecca.
Yeah, that's true.
It's based on the Chrysler building. Apparently, its design style. I don't know.
There you go. So so that was kind of the first real horror thing we did, and even Conan.
Yeah,
we've got out is coming out now. Is it's brutal swords and sorcery, and there's a lot of cosmic horror.
Yeah, because it shares the mythos.
There ain't no pointy ears in Conan.
No. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of things that upend Tolkien tropes and just don't use them because I'm sick of. We're elves. We've been around for ages. We're great. It's like no. Bugger off. It's like Iron Kingdoms makes them into genocidal lunatics that are actually younger than humans. So I like.
Yeah, so it's good.
Breaking
tropes.
around.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we finish up here? Because you've covered a lot of cool stuff which we're going to have to delve into, I believe. We'll have to, if not in hard copy, we'll have to definitely get some PDFs and root through them.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think is kind of exciting coming up?
Well, we've got Fallout, which is...
yes, actually, it's totally Fallout. Yeah, because we do miniatures as well. We paint miniatures a lot, so...
Yeah, so that's coming out in November.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a pre-order in late July. And it's a skirmish miniatures game that is somewhat like Necromunda and Mordheim. It's 3 to 30 figures, all really cool, beautiful resin miniatures.
32mm?
32mm scale. Yeah.
So, actual real proportion, not heroic scale.
It's that slightly pumped up.
Yeah.
You might call it 28mm heroic scale. Okay. So where hands and faces and everything is slightly bigger, but they look great on the table. Cool. It's a little trick that a lot of miniatures companies use now, so that they look better when you're looking down on them. You can actually see the face.
Yeah, I understand the principle. So
cool. If you look really up close, impossibly close, compared to how you would normally look at them, it might look a bit odd, but it does make sense.
Okay, and then so that's going to be is the aim for that? I mean, with the Kickstarter, so that's going to be like some sort of
Kickstarter straight to retail and pre-order. And we're pre-ordering through the summer on our site.
And what kind of is there kind of like an introductory box?
So it's going to be one introductory box set that will probably have one of the Vault Dwellers, Dogme, Preston Garvey, a couple of survivors.
Yeah,
and then you'll have some super mutants and the various dice and cards you need. And then you'll collect the different faction boxes that you want.
It's a really good time. I mean, that's the cool thing, I think, right now. It's a really good time with a lot of these things, a lot of these miniature games, because there's so many kind of like different companies scenery-wise that it's actually not difficult to find scenery that fits thematically with this. So
there's been loads of, there's quite a few games out there that are post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
And it's got a 50s vibe to it. We're doing
a
load of cool scenic boxes like Red Rocket and Sanctuary Hills, and we're going to do lots of like packs of resin bits so you can customise your own buildings.
Excellent, brilliant.
To make them all look Fallout style. We've got lots of Nuka-Cola machines and power cell generators and turrets and stuff as well. So it's a really
Excellent.
big, fun range. Loads of characters.
Yeah. Oh wow, you can do so much stuff. You can just like do a nice desert terrain board. You can do then like desert terrain with the buildings that covered in overflowing with sand, and then you've got the old bombed out towns.
Yeah, we're doing a competition for the best looking terrain board later in the year.
Oh yeah, mine wouldn't work for that right now. I've put together finally. It's like 20 years too late. The perfect Gorkamorka table.
Oh well.
Because I got a pristine copy on eBay. But
wow,
again,
great.
it's like, but with a bit of work, it'll look good for Fallout.
Yeah.
I think terrain-wise, I'd love to see a board based on the bandit camp, which is all the connected boats. So just the most of the board be water, and then you just gantries and walkways and everything, and like
I know what you mean. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Oh, actually, the entire board
Get
that
some
is
plastic
actually
ships.
an old oil tanker.
So let's get some model kits.
Oh, a lot of model kits. Yeah.
eBay.
Yes. I think that covers it. Anything else you can think of, James? I've not thought of.
Oh, I mean,
These are all gonna. I'm sure this will all be follow-up stuff when we do. When it's less noisy.
I'm super excited by Tales of the Loop. I'm constantly looking for things to get my gaming group to play, which aren't D&D.
And also non-gamers. I think it's quite a good way
it's
to introduce other people as well. And it's a different approach on that place to play kids, with some kind of weird horror.
Yeah.
Weird sci-fi horror. So.
No, I can.
The kind of character-centered gameplay sounds really good. My group basically will spend whole sessions without rolling a dice if they can possibly avoid it.
Yeah, sure.
So anything like going around exploring, talking to people, trying to solve problems, that's the kind of kid thing we do. Like we can't get an adult to do this for us. So I'm just going to stack all of these things up and then
I'm going to say so because it's a Swedish game. No doubt they've already done some Nordic LARP based on the setting and
quite
stuff.
possibly.
I can imagine them doing it because imagine you've got a bunch of 20-somethings older. Like I want to recapture my childhood from the 80s, so we've hired out a place and festooned it with it's junk and stuff, and we just why are the kids all here? Well, they've converged on the weirdness. Excellent. Well, thank you for the time. Right. It's brilliant. And we'll get all the right links in there to everything in the show notes. We'll get this out as soon as so people can
give us a shout.
Join it.
Plug it.
And we will follow up with hopefully if we can get one of the writers on and really pick their brains.
We should
some
get
more.
Misha on talking about Colin Dark.
Yes, that'd be really good.
He's Swedish as well.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah, we've been dealing with Swedes a lot recently with New White Wolf.
A lot of gaming stuff coming out. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's it for now, and hopefully, that's it from UK Games Expo for us, James, on recorded content. And there will be pictures on the blog of other things that we've seen, like I think the Cthulhu, your Acton Cthulhu miniatures. I think I've got a picture of the board there, or if I haven't got it yet, I'm going to get it in a moment. So it'll be on there. See ya. That's all.